A quick tip before I get started. Plastic putty. It has its place and everything. You can get it in tube. This is an acrylic one. You can get, I call it Bondo. Comes in a tube, and it has its place and purpose. But what I like to use is putty from the sprue, and it's real easy. All you do is you cut this up, put it in a jar, put your little MEK in there, and wait till it dissolves, and you can make different thicknesses. And I started here. I wanted to try Bandai sprue because I've done every sprue there is on Tamayas and Takums and all them, but I've never done Bandai's. And all you do is take you some sprue and just cut it up into small pieces, put it in the jar, and I basically fill up the jar about, I don't know, quarter, halfway with glue, MEK. You can use testers, Tamayas, whatever you want. And I filled the rest of it with sprue, let it dissolve, and you'll be able to see it once you get in here, that it can be pretty thick, or you can get it a little more runny, a little more flow in it, and if you need to make it a little more thinner, just add a little more glue, and you can get all different types of thicknesses. And now the old school way with the sprue, you can also sculpt with it, like basically you make it as thick as epoxy sculpt here, and you can sculpt bedrolls and everything else and clothing and all that. But it's an old school trick, and I think it's one of those, it works really well on plastic models. But anyway, that's a quick way how I make putty, and I'm going to try the Bandai sprue, see how well it does. And I like to use loud colors because when I put putty down, I like to see where I'm going. I don't like to blend it in with the kit, it just in case you missed it when you sand it. But anyway, sprue putty, that's what I call it. So I haven't really decided what we're going to do next. I'm leaning towards the Panzer of the Lake, and I will probably end up doing it, but I always show the build process and finished model, but I want to show this time around the design or the planning stage, and that's something I don't think I've ever really shown too much of on anything that I build. You get an idea in your head and you want to, you start playing around with the configuration of it. So on the Panzer here, first you got to go find out, what it is. This is a Panzer IV What? Oh, cat wants something. And you can tell by the short barrel. You can tell by the mantlet here where it's rounded. There's no surface detail on the top here. I call it there's usually a vent that's on top. And the doors are single doors. On Panzer IVs and H's and earliers, they have split doors and not just a single door. But anyway, once you find all that, the planning stage, and I had a base that I wanted to use, and Hobby Lobby or Michael's had a wood box that you could get, and if you took it apart, you had two bases. So what I was planning on doing was I was going to have it like that, put the groundwork on here, and then put the tank like so, and work around it. But anyway, that's just, I thought it was too much, too much material. You want to put a lot of material, but not either. You want to keep it, you want to get the essence of the Panzer of the Lake. You don't want to completely make the whole entire scene. You want to make just that. So I decided, I'll flip it on the bottom here, have less material for the tank to sit on, and it'd be nicer. But anyway, it's either a D or an E on the Panzer IV, and I have a Tamiya D, which you could use. It'd be simple to modify. I decided to go this route, and this is a reissue of, grab it, It's a reissue of the Panzer 4H, which it's easy to modify to make a D or an E out of it, because you're just using the turret part, and it's pretty much the same everything else. Plus, we're invoking a little bit of a little ship pain here. So anyway, I have a couple of these, and I can burn one of those. I really didn't want to open the. So I had a seal to my one, and that's the collector in me. Didn't want to open that, but anyway. So, playing around with the idea, how you want it. If you look, basically, turret's going to be like that, and you're going to be something like, what? Going to be something like that, roughly. But, if you notice, see, I got the ground, the base here, it sticks up too much, and we're going to have water that's going in. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut all the inside out here and just make this flat, because again, you can't see a whole lot underneath. You can just barely see the beginnings of the turret hatches, the hull hatches, and it's probably, I want to say, muddy water, so it's not crystal clear, so you'll be able to see, you won't see a whole lot of it, so it'll be hidden. So we'll do that and try to get that cut and get it positioned, because we're going to have, now forgive me, I haven't got the man yet. Basically something like that. And we'll have the man, pretty much like that. Give or take. Once we build the ground. But anyway, that's we're working on the planning stage, and that's one of those things where that takes the most time. I mean, building it really is not a issue, or once you get started, it's just planning, getting the composition, how you want it. And I started working on the turret, which I got the doors cut out, and I'll add styrene, and then I call it the little vent. I really don't know what it's called here on top. We'll whack that off, put a new plate on it, and it's pretty much good to go. The old monogram kit's a H, I think, and it's got a squared off mantlet, and all I did was just sand it down, get the bevel on it, and then we'll add a little extension to the turret to make a short barrel, and you got yourself a D or an E version for the Panzer of the late. But anyway, that's where I am on that. So I wanted to show, we're going to show the planning stage, make sure we get everything right before we get, farther along. One thing I want to do, since I don't have nothing really to build for anyone, I want to sculpt something, but I'm not a sculptor. I use like mixed mediums, like we'll use sheet foam, we'll use clay, we'll use whatever. I would like to take a deal of clay and make the armature and sculpt like a bus or something. I don't never really done it. I have, but it's just, it don't come natural to me to do it. But I'm leaning toward, and I've never done really a Batman. Everyone does Batman, but I've never seen one do the Hellbat armor, and I thought that'd be cool. Just do the helmet and a little bit of the chest, do a bust of it, make it, I don't know, about yay big, I don't know, haven't decided quite how I want to do. But anyway, we'll jump that bridge, see what's going on. But anyway, that's what I got going on today. We're going to start with the Panzer of the Lake, and we may even try to attempt some sculpting, see how that works out for us. But anyway, that's what I got going on today, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.